What is the weirdest fact you know? Bees like to play. Scientists put bees in a box under stress-free conditions with a few wooden round balls scattered about to see what would happen. There are videos of this experiment, and the bees just climb over these wooden spheres, rolling them around happily. It's the cutest thing. Roald Dahl's last words were, "Ow!" The best part of this one is the context, though. He had prepared some lovely and touching last words, which he did indeed successfully say to his family at the appropriate time. He said, "I'm not frightened. It's just that I will miss you all so much." Then, when he had apparently fallen unconscious, the nurse injected him with morphine to ease his passing, and the still alive Dahl stirred and uttered his actual last words. "If you shave a tiger, it'll be stripy and angry. Very, very angry." You mean the skin has stripes? And anger issues. It's official. Angry Skin Stripes is my new band name. That's actually really cool. Though I have to say, what in the world caused this tiger to look like that? It looks like mange, but he doesn't seem miserable or have the usual bumps. In fact, he looks like he's doing that heavy blink house cats do when the sun is in their eyes. He just looks like a happy naked boy. Polar bears are black under their fur, and their hairs are clear, but not just clear, hollow, which is why you sometimes see green polar bears, because algae can grow in the hollow fur. I've never seen a green polar bear, never even heard of a green polar bear, but here's some pictures of green polar bears. Would you look at that? In recent times, more people have become aware of the story of the SS Daniel J. Morrell, a Great Lakes ship that broke in half. And the people on the front section thought they saw another ship coming to rescue them, but it was in fact the rear section approaching them under power. What people seldom learn is that when the wreck pieces were discovered, the lifeboats of the rear section weren't deployed in the apparently 3 hours that it continued to steam along before sinking. Thus, leading analysts to conclude that the staff in the rear section had no idea the ship yet even broke apart until it sank. How do you not notice that the ship you're on is broken in half? Seems rather difficult to do. Just looking it up, it was a 600-foot-long steam freighter that broke up in heavy storms. That's super long, and a storm heavy enough to do that damage would be really loud, I imagine. And if the waves in the sea are already wild in the storm, it's dark. It's hard to ascertain because you sit still. You don't go walking down a hallway in high waves. That way lies a broken neck. Ancient Greek Olympic runners competing nude would either wear a small cover over the tip of their junk, or would tie their uncut skin closed in order to avoid the embarrassment of accidentally exposing their head. Ah yes, you have to keep it modest while running naked. Your dog looks into your eyes and soul when taking a dump because it's looking up to you for protection in its most valuable moment. Edit. Yes, I meant to say most vulnerable moment. Y'all are correct on that. I was high as a giraffe's pussy last night trying to make this comment. Damn, what's that, like 6 feet high? Does that make you like the opposite of 6 feet under? Well, I guess that's a pretty good place to be. When you get a kidney transplant, they leave the old ones in unless there's a reason to remove them. I currently have 5. 2 original, 2 failed transplants, and 1 functioning transplant. I know when they do surgery, they just kind of shove the things back in wherever they fit, but I feel like having 5 kidneys inside you probably doesn't leave a lot of room for space. So maybe I just don't understand the economics of surgery, but that seems like more hassle to leave them in than just take them out and toss them. Although according to the University of New York's Langone Health Center, they do this because the original non-functioning kidneys shrink over time, so I guess it makes enough space to shove some more in there. It still seems like leaving 5 in is more hassle than taking 1 or 2 out, though. The flower yarrow has a Latin name Achillea. It's called that because it's supposed to be the herb that soldiers used to try and stop Achilles' heel from bleeding at the Battle of Troy in Iliad. Spoiler, he died. During mating, the male anglerfish will fuse with a larger female, allowing them to share not only reproductive fluids, but also blood and skin. They become one amalgamated abomination that haunts the deep for that period of mating. Edit. It's a deep-sea anglerfish, not a hagfish. That is a different nightmare. In Germany, you can get sentenced for up to 10 years in prison for causing a nuclear explosion. Why does that seem lenient? I'm guessing it's more about mishandling a nuclear power station rather than setting off an actual bomb. Opel hides sharks in the interior design of some of their cars. I had to look this up. According to CreativeBlock.com, the Opel website used to say, and I quote, "One Sunday in 2004, Opel designer Dietmar Finger was at home drawing a design for the new Corsa. More precisely, the unspectacular outer wall of the glove box, which is covered most of the time by the closed passenger doors. When the box is opened, this wall must provide stability, which is achieved with transverse ribs in the plastic surface. The designer now had to design these ribs. As he was in the middle of his design, his son walked by, took a look at the sketch, and asked, 'Dad, why don't you draw a shark?' 'Why not?' Finger thought to himself, and gave the ribs the shape of a shark. An idea and a new tradition was born." And here's a picture of that wall. In most languages, people think of the future as in front of them and the past as behind them, so we think of ourselves as moving forward in time. It's such an ingrained metaphor that we don't even think about it. But there are a couple of outliers, languages where the past is in front and the future is behind. In at least one of these languages, someone explained that the past is in front because you can see it, and you know what was in your past, but the future is a mystery and you can't see it, just like you can't see what's behind you. Like rowing a boat, we enter the future backwards. All we see is scenes of the past, and one cannot see the views of tomorrow. Okay, that was taken straight from Vinland Saga. It is a great metaphor, though. In the animal kingdom, there is a type of jellyfish called the immortal jellyfish. What makes it fascinating is its ability to revert back to its earliest form after reaching adulthood. When facing environmental stress or old age, it can transform its cells, essentially returning to a polyp stage and then growing into a new jellyfish. This process can theoretically repeat itself indefinitely, hence the name immortal jellyfish. While it's not truly immortal in the sense of living forever, it has the exceptional regenerative capacity that allows it to bypass the typical life cycle limitations of other organisms. Sounds like human immortality is gonna look a whole lot less like altered carbon and a whole lot more like Benjamin Button. Karl XII almost caused a political crisis with Russia when he, in the middle of an important diplomatic talk, suddenly disappeared one night without a trace. After several hours of frantic searching, raised voices, and accusations, a stable boy revealed what had happened. The king had apparently decided simply that he didn't want to waste any more time with pointless discussions, and gone back to Sweden without informing anyone. Do note that the main topic of discussion was the potential marriage between Karl XII and the Russian princess. So, you know. Ouch. Millions of horses died in World War I. This was due to the fact that automotive transportation wasn't all there yet, despite biplanes being used for bombing and dart dropping for the first time. Pair this with the fact that it was the first war with center-fire rifle cartridges, and it spelled devastation. Many cavalry units, who were once the elites and best of the best in war, were just like, screw it, if we're the best, these center-fire rifles won't affect us. Boy, were they wrong. To add to this, I'm not entirely sure if it was Vietnam or World War II or both, but there was a period of time where basically any dog that could function as an attack dog was drafted like young men in America. Tons of families lost their pets and never got them back, and rather than trying to at least find the owners of the dogs that survived, the military put most of them down to avoid the hassle. Across Manhattan, between 13th and 14th Street, at approximately 60 feet underground, there is a massive 20-foot deep quartz layer with golden veins running through it. I only know this because I'm a geologist who does rock sampling. A significant portion of your body is genuine stardust. Apart from the hydrogen and a little helium, every other element in your body was forged in the center of a star as it fused. And everything after iron in the periodic table was forged in the final moments of a star's death as it violently collapsed and exploded. You're stardust, my dude. Don't even remember where I heard this, but if you open your hand completely, then bend your wrist inward and see in the middle of your wrist a long tendon popping up, you have something that shouldn't be there anymore. That tendon serves no purpose anymore and is just leftover from our previous evolutionary state. If you have this tendon and happen to break or damage some other more meaningful tendon, this one is taking out to replace it. So yes, some of us carry spare parts with us. Here's 12 of the weirdest animal facts that I know. Dolphins use toxic pufferfish to get high. There's more than 1.4 million bugs for each person on the planet. Even after having its head taken off, a cockroach can still live for up to a week. A garden snail has around 14,000 teeth. The giant Pacific octopus has blue blood, 9 brains, and 3 hearts. Hippo sweat is blood red. Reindeer eyes turn blue during the winter. A group of sharks is called a shiver. A flamingo's head has to be upside down when it's eating. Prairie dogs kiss. The bat is the only mammal that can fly. Birds are not mammals, they are avians. And some snails have hairy shells. Apparently hippo sweat is red because of a couple different acid pigments it has. And it has both a sunscreen and antibiotic property for when they need to leave the water during the day to endure the sun in order to eat additional vegetation. Of course, this doesn't apply to the North American house hippo found across Canada and the eastern United States. Alright, now we move on to the rapid fire segment for stories too short to make a full entry out of, but too good to leave out. Let's jump in. Switzerland does not have a single official head of state. It's a council of 7 people. We call them the 7 dwarves. Frogs swallow using their eyes. If you looked at 1 star per second, it would take you over 3,000 years to look at all the stars in the Milky Way galaxy alone. If you place a hamster wheel in the forest, mice will run on them for fun. The largest man-made pyramid in the world is in Cholula, Mexico. KFC follows 11 people on Twitter. The 5 former Spice Girls, and 6 guys named Herb. Pandas poop, on average, 40 times a day, and about 62 pounds in weight due to their bamboo diet. The national animal of Scotland is a unicorn. Glossy magazine paper has a higher vitamin B content than newsprint. Wombats poop cubes. So that's it for today, guys. I hope you all enjoyed this video. I'm ReddList. I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Take care of yourself, and I will see you next time.